trying to wake up 3 more hours before I can end this 24-hour fast. I've done 18 hours, done 20 hours, but this is the first time I'm doing 24 hours on a fast. So bear with me if I'm a little hollowed out and the energy's not all there. Also worked out earlier today, so now I'm starting to feel it. But a few more hours and then I can break the fast and have a good meal to eat. But good question, still wanted to knock out a question, was how to accommodate your dog or your guest when you're having a young pup and a dog and still in training. So how do you accommodate both parties? Really good question. Biggest thing is you want to be upfront with your house guest. Whoever it may be, just say, hey, you know, obviously they probably know by now. Sorry. Doesn't end with the text messages. They should probably know by now that you have a new dog or your dog is in training. So just depending on what behaviors the dogs already exhibit, you can go ahead and give them, you know, a heads up. And just say, hey, dog is still getting accustomed to people, especially people inside the house. So what we're gonna do is when you get here, tell me like 5 minutes before you get to my house, I'm gonna be outside with my dog on a leash. Okay, so this way you can do some obedience outside. If you want to kind of mentally drain the dog already, you can. Chances are it might re-up, it might get a second wind when these other people come over. But at least this way it's on neutral ground. Okay, in the past I've always said, you know, put your dog in a crate, can still do that. But part of it is also going to be, you know, you can take your dog out and then let the people who are staying over come inside the house first. So your dog is getting acclimated to people coming in before them, which will hopefully realize, okay, these people got some, I don't want to say superiority, but take kind of precedence right now. And then depending on how they are, I would suggest keep the dog on the leash. From there, go ahead and just put the dog in the crate, if you have a crate. If not, you can just keep it on the leash, but hopefully you have a crate, and making sure they just stay calm and cool. If they're on the leash and they're acting, you know, obedient, they're being polite, they have their manners, you can go ahead and see how it is without the leash, or you could just drop the leash on the floor and just have it there when needed. But big time is, again, if they're still not getting used to being inside their crate with other people around, I'll go ahead and say, put the dog in the crate. Okay, so this way the dog can understand, hey, this is my timeout, not timeout, but this is my space. I just got to chill out and deal with it. Then once the dog is chilled out and cool, you can go ahead and take the dog back out. I would still say keep the dog on the leash, but that's okay. But again, the biggest thing is just telling your house guests that, hey, prepare and understand there's going to be some barking. Understand if in the middle of the night you go to use the restroom or grab some water, what have you, the dog is probably going to bark just because it's a new smell, new sound, new shape or figure at night that the dog is going to have to deal with. So the chances are the dog's going to bark. So just don't be alarmed. Just be prepared for that. Okay. But the biggest thing, but also, you know, again, that first night, making sure you get them acclimated to that person, you know, I would definitely do obedience. So use that dog's drive and that anxiousness to your advantage. Go ahead and, you know, have the person just stand there, get used to good leash walking, just inside the house, you know, around them. If you got a focus heel, do a focus heel. If you got, you know, just even focus, you know, stand right next to a person and have the dog focus on you in a front or a left or a right, whatever, and just, you know, reward the dog. Use your training with that stimulus there. You can control that stimulus because you can just move your dog away, or you can ask that person to go a little further in the house. If chances are, if you've got a person staying over and they appreciate dogs and love dogs, they will want to help. So don't ever worry or feel like, oh, my dog is going crazy, I can't have people over. No, chances are if you're upfront with people and you tell them the truth, they will want to help. And as long as you're clear with that, you're going to be fine. So use that stimulus to your advantage, because over time that person, well, one, they'll get desensitized to the dog and the dog would be desensitized to them. But at the same time, you're just reinforcing that behavior and actually going to accelerate that behavior and that command just because you have such a large stimulus right there. So again, just keep the session short. And then if they really need to, you can give the person some treats. And then this way, when the dog comes over and they want to smell them, you can give them a treat so they can realize, okay, this person is cool. But Again, first night, hey, just letting you know, if you move out throughout the night, dog's probably gonna bark. Don't sweat it. You know, just do what you gotta do. Act as if that dog doesn't even exist. And that's the other thing, is when the dog's acting like an asshole, just have that person understand, hey, don't look, don't give it your attention, pay no mind, and the dog will eventually just relax and get used to it and tire out or just stop. Next thing I would suggest or invite you to would be, told you I'm getting kind of spacey right now, would be, don't let them train your dog. And mean that by, you know, they can do, hey, they probably won't want to play with it. That's fine. They can, if you allow it, you know, catch inside the house, you know, throw a ball, tug, whatever, and they come and get it, blah, blah, blah. You can do all that shit. But it's like the sits downs, left, right. I wouldn't do so much more obedience with that, because again, depending on if you're at the level when you're doing corrections or anything like that, the person probably won't be correcting the dog, and then those little slips, you know, they might be gradual, they might be just a little bit, a few degrees off, but versus you doing it where you can actually correct them and get your timing right and precise, those are going to be more important than someone else saying that. So I would just invite you to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. You know, if you want to play toss, fine. If they're coming over, pet the dog as much as you want. That's another thing. Let them pet the dog as much as they want, so the dog can get used to someone else feeling and rubbing them other than you. And this will help with their socialization with people as well, and makes them realize, hey, not everyone is bad, okay? I don't have to go crazy. This is actually a good thing, okay? But just don't let them, you know, slowly train your dog, unless that's, you know, person's a fucking dog trainer where you got your dog trainer over, but that's totally different. But just tighten that up so your dog doesn't form any bad habits, okay? But other than that, after a night or two, they should be fine, should be totally acclimated to that person, and shouldn't happen. If they got cool with them and then you guys went out to dinner or something, you came back and the dog's still barking at them, you know, even outside the cage, and it was just like 5 minutes later, you can do a quick correction. Told you I'm getting spacey. A quick correction, you know, of a no or a quiet, and hopefully they stop and realize, hey, that's not allowed, okay? So good luck. Just be upfront with your people and you shouldn't have any problems, okay? Good luck. Talk to you next time. Done.